One thing that's always fascinated me and scared me at the same time is paranormal activity, things that cannot be explained, mysteries, scary stories. And I don't think I'll be doing anyone any service if I don't share the stories that I've heard. And that's the purpose of this channel. If you're new here, welcome, like, subscribe. If you're into scary stuff, you're in the right place. Before we proceed, let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. We all know this guy, Mr. Balin, very popular storyteller. Most of his stories are factual. That's what makes them scary. Let's just get into it because this one is going to mess you up.
So it wouldn't be a Mr. Ballin episode if I didn't tell you a story. Yes. This story isn't really on the internet. You have to write them a letter to get access to this story.
You set up like a Bond story. I had to request access through headquarters to hear a story. I don't know where this is gonna go,
It's good.
but I'm in, dude.
So in June of 1976, there's this 23-year-old kid named Rafael Perez, and he's training to be a pilot. And he flies his training missions, if you will. He's a civilian. So he flies his training flights out of this airport in Chimalacán, Mexico. It's about 3 hours inland from Acapulco. And this kid, he's flown many times, but always with another pilot. So he's learning how to fly a small plane, like a Cessna. And on this day in June, he's gonna fly on his own for the first time. The flight profile was very simple. You're gonna take off like you always have, fly in a loop, come back and land. Nothing more to it. You're basically demonstrating you can do it without panicking on your own.
Yeah.
Right? And keep in mind, in 1976, the controls, the instruments inside of the aircrafts were pretty rudimentary. They didn't have GPS systems. It was sort of like you had your compass and you had your altimeter, but honestly, a lot of flying was literally dead reckoning, like looking out the window and just seeing where you were, right? So he takes off at 9:15 a.m. It's June 23rd of 1976. He takes off. And right away he notices that it's very foggy. And this was something he knew on the ground, but from a dead reckoning perspective, looking out the window, he's got limited access to reference points on the ground. So he really has not really a good sense of where he is. He's using his instruments and he's sort of guessing when he's supposed to make this turn, to bank around, to come in and land. But on his approach back to the airport, he's successfully done this flight. He can't quite find the airport. He's struggling to see it. But at a certain point, based on his instruments, he realizes he's off course, he's lost. And so he tries calling in with a radio back to the control tower to be like, I'm lost, I'm letting you know, it's gonna take me a minute. He doesn't really hear back from them, it's sort of garbled static. And then he realizes, I need to fly back left. I need to go left. So he takes the yoke, the steering wheel, and he tries to bank the airplane left. But the airplane doesn't go left. It just continues flying level at 7,000 feet in a straight line. And he's thinking, okay, there's clearly some sort of issue here. It's okay. He's not panicking. He hops on the radio and he says, hey, I'm having some issues. I can't go left. He tried going right. Nothing's affecting the plane. It's flying straight at 7,000 feet. He hops on the radio. He starts talking what do I do here? I can't do anything to my plane. And as he's trying to get a hold of anybody who's not getting back in touch with him, but we have his voice being recorded into this radio, the plane actually begins to climb. And he's not pulling back on the yoke. He's not making the plane climb. The plane is climbing on its own. And so it begins to climb, and the way the
I should not be watching this alone. I should not be watching this alone. I should not be watching this alone. Let's continue.
fog and mist is there was this big, huge cloud that he was basically flying into. So he's ascending up to 8, 9, 10,000 feet. He can't go left, can't go right. He's just going straight up into this cloud. And so he can't see anything. He's in a void. He's totally panicked now. He can't get a hold of anybody on the radio. About the time he's totally obscured in the clouds, he feels this overwhelming tiredness come over him. And he passes out, just passes out in the cockpit. He wakes up in the cockpit, has no idea how long he's been asleep for. Could have been a second, could have been days, but he's immediately shocked that, holy cow, I did not crash. How long he's been asleep for.
You see this man's reaction? That is me right now. That's my reaction right now. Pardon? I beg your pardon?
Could have been a second, could have been days, but he's immediately shocked that, holy cow, I did not crash the plane. I know I just fell asleep in the plane. But a couple things immediately become clear to him. First of all, his plane's still flying. He's still in the air. He's still coasting along, right? But he's back down to 7,000 feet. He was climbing before, now he's back down to 7,000 feet. He also looks out the window and there's no more mist or fog or anything like that. It's actually just the open ocean underneath him. And immediately he thinks to himself, I took off from this airport that's 3 hours inland from the coast. If I went in a straight line, and he looks at his clock and it says 11:30. Took off at 9:15, 10:15, 11:15. So 2 hours and 15 minutes from the time he took off. I'm doing the math right. It's below 3 hours. What body of water am I over? The amount of time that has transpired that apparently I was asleep for is not enough time for me to arrive over any body of water. That flashes through his mind. In addition to that, he looks at his gas gauge and it's at 3/4 tank. And he knew that not only is that way too high, but he wouldn't have had, even if he had 3 hours, he wouldn't have had enough gas to reach any water body. So wouldn't have had enough gas, but have 3/4 tank of gas. Also, again, how did I get here? I have no idea how I got here. Has no idea where he is. And as he's like coming to like, what's happening here? Somebody chimes in over the radio and goes, hey, are you there? And he grabs this radio and he's totally frantic. He's like, hey, I fell asleep in my plane. I don't know where I am. And there's a pause, and this is all recorded. There's a pause, and the guy on the other end, he introduces himself sort of cautiously. He's like, hey, this is Carlos. Are you alone in your airplane? And Raphael's like, of course I'm alone. Like, where am I? What? I think I fell asleep. I don't know what's going on. And Carlos's reaction is just sort of, okay, well, listen, here's what we're going to do. You're just off the coast of Acapulco. And for the last hour, you've been flying out over the water. You just kind of showed up, right? And by the way, going back to the timeline, he arrived off the coast of Acapulco now an hour earlier. That was 10:30 in the morning, took off at 9:15. Takes 3 hours to get there. He apparently did it in about an hour and 15 minutes. So he's circling over the water. And Carlos is like, hey, just come into the airport where I am. I'm going to get you in there. You're going to land.
So I feel at this point I need to explain what he just said. So from where he took off from to where he is now, it will take you more than 3 hours to get there, and your fuel will finish, but his fuel is at 3/4 tank. Okay, so just imagine, ideally it takes 50 minutes to get from Abuja to Lagos. Imagine getting from Abuja to Lagos in 10 minutes and your fuel tank didn't move up to half. That is kind of like what is going on here, just to put everything in perspective. Let's continue.
And we'll talk to you then. And so Raphael is just happy to be alive at this point. He comes in, he lands at the airport in Acapulco. And as soon as he gets off, there's these people in suits that are there to meet him. And they immediately take him, they detain him, put him in like a black car. He's asking what's going on, nobody knows, or they don't tell him. And they drive him to a hospital. And he's the whole time saying, I'm so sorry about the craft. Please tell like where I flew out of that I'm sorry about the craft. I hope it's not damaged. They bring him to the hospital. They drug test him right away. He's not on drugs, he's sober. And they also have a psychologist come in and they give him a profile, make sure he's sane, and she determines that he is. And so the whole time, Raphael has no idea what's happening. He doesn't know what they're doing. He doesn't understand any of this. And so finally they say, okay, we're gonna tell you what happened. So when you showed up off the coast of Acapulco at about 10:30 in the morning, which no one understands how you got there, it's not possible. You showed up on the radar screen of who you were talking to, Carlos, the air traffic control guy. And he talked to you for an hour while you were out over the water. That whole time you were circling, you were talking to him, and it was recorded. And I'm going to read to you the first thing that Raphael said to Carlos. And you're going to see in a minute why Carlos's first question when Raphael came to was, is there somebody else in the plane? He said in a very deep, almost robotic voice, when Carlos saw this blip on his radar at 10:30, he said, hey, who is this? You're flying over Acapulco's coast. What's going on here? The voice came back and said, the pilot is speaking, but not of his own free will. We are using him as a microphone. Your equipment is too primitive. It is not important who we are or where we come from, only that we are inhabitants of the same universe. For the next 30 to 45 minutes, the voice being projected through Raphael talked about humanity is the only intelligent species in the entire universe that uses warfare and conducts violence on each other. And you are poised for a nuclear holocaust, and you may be exterminated if this continues. And then at about 11:30, Raphael wakes up, and his voice changed completely. And he's like, oh, what's going on?
Jesus. Good.
I think I fell asleep at the wheel. And that's why Carlos is like, wait a minute, I've been talking to you for an hour. And he's like, is somebody else in the craft with you, right? No one has any idea how Raphael wound up over the coast. They examined his plane, nothing wrong with his plane. It really was 3/4 tanks of gas. Didn't make sense how it got there. Nobody knows. Raphael has no idea how he got there. And the Mexican government quickly took this story, buried it, and now you can only access it in this obscure library in Mexico.
Jesus. I don't even know what to say. Okay, so to be honest, this is my second time watching this story, but it's still giving me the same chill down my spine feeling. And what makes it worse is that it's true. This story, look, I don't even know what to say. Look, if you're watching this, head over to the comment section. You can fact check if you want, if this story is true or not. Let us know in the comment section, because I don't even know what to say. But look, if this is your first time, don't forget to like, subscribe. If you like scary stories like this, you found the right place. Again, let me know you're watching from in the comment section. Let's get to know each other. Anyway, till next time, see you guys.